Hi, today I want to share with you something that I've been working on this morning, and that is a visualization of our migration plan. What is a migration plan? When we perform migration, we know that migrations are complex projects. They require several months to be completed. I mean, when we translate, code bases in the hundreds of thousands or more frequently the millions of lines of code. You can imagine the complexity behind that. One key element to facilitate the migration is to perform the migration in the right order. So we want to be able, as soon as possible, to provide initial parts of the migrated application to the client or third parties so that they can start validating it. They can validate it by manually looking at the code, they can run tests, or they can even at some point start adopting parts of the migrated application. Now, the key is out of a large application to identify the subset that is that can work independently. So before we translate the rest of the application, and also the subset that we can produce more quickly. So in order to do this, we need to consider basically two elements. The first one is the network of dependencies and transitive dependencies. So we may want, out of many batch programs, to translate anyone for which we can translate the program, their direct dependency, for example, the data structures they use, the functions they use, and also the data structure and function used by this function, used by the program, and so on. So, calculated this dependency, we want to find the easiest one so that we can start from them, providing these initially migrated programs maybe after a few months, 2-3 months, and then as in parallel the client tests and adopt the migrated elements, we keep continuing translating the rest. Now, we achieved that by using this idea of the migration plan. Essentially, we start by organizing the application in programs or individual runnable parts. In this case, the case of this application, we are using batch programs. And so we can see that there are several batches of programs that we can be interested into. The first one is a single program. To cover that, we need to be able to handle 90 constructs, but then after that, we will be able to translate a batch of 54 programs if we only could cover an additional 9 constructs, and then covering one more construct, 2 other programs, and so on and so forth. And we can see some details. Now, I'm running this application in privacy mode so that I don't share names that could lead you to identify the client. But I can show you that in this first case, I will have a first program to cover for which I need to translate 57 sub steps, and I will show them later, and to cover these constructs. And then if I pick another one, if I cover this, I will translate this program, and for that I need to cover these constructs. But I can look at things more in detail. So I can say, okay, but if I'm interested in translating the first program, which sub-step do I need to go through? And I need to translate this construct first, and I will be able to translate a little bit of the program. Then if I cover these other elements, these other 6 constructs, I will be able to translate a little bit more, and so on and so forth. But I can also visually see what happens. So if I'm looking at these elements, when I will have translated, I don't know, 15, I will be here. I will have covered this amount of the steps I need to cover to translate the first program. And of course, I can continue and also can see at the program level. So I can see that initially I don't translate anything, then I have translated, parts of what I need to cover program 1 until eventually I translated everything that I need to cover program 1. And I'm moving to program 2. And for example, if I now move program 2, I can see that there is some elements, some of these subsets that are covered and some that are not. Now, this helps a lot because it helps parallelize the work, but it also provides very clear visibility to the client. So they know what is happening at each stage, where we are in executing the plan. And I think transparency for a project that is so complex, so impactful as a migration is very valuable. So I hope it makes sense. And if you have questions, doubts, comments, I'm always happy to hear them. So thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.